Hello everyone, thanks for joining us and welcome to this video. Today we're going to be discussing crossing water with animal mobs. My name is Ona and my goal is to actually present you with a few little tidbits of knowledge that might help you in your Minecraft journey. So let's get started. Now most of us have seen this situation before. You're riding along and you come up to a river crossing and it's not quite small enough that you can just walk across it. Sometimes it's only one layer deep and you just walk across it slowly. In this case, we got just a little bit too far. So what I've learned over time is to just sort of time my jumps and hopefully end up with the horse mostly on the other side, a couple little nudges, and I'm back on my way. That's a technique that requires a little bit of practice, but with time you can perfect it. But you might find yourself with a larger body of water. And then you got a little bit of a situation where you have to find another way to get across. And the one I've used for a long time is just simply getting behind my animal, pointing at the land I want to get to, keeping my animal in between me and that land and nudging them along to the other side. And believe me, I've played countless hours and countless seeds, and I've only used this technique. I'm sort of embarrassed to say. It's only recently that I've discovered some of these other techniques. One I discovered about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, especially near your house, is just simply to build very simple bridges, stone, dirt, or whatever material is available to you. And you can do this in any locations you find yourself more than once, like local villages where you're doing a lot of trading. And just as a quick note, that bridge doesn't even have to be close to perfect. Even gaps in the bridge, the horse is going to be easily able to get across, or for that matter, a donkey. And you can even miss not even really even trying to get across that bridge straight, but that's going to be more than enough. There's no reason not to do it right, but if you're in a rush being chased by skeletons or creepers or what have you, just putting down a couple blocks to get across that river quickly, that's could work for you. But even better than that, and I discovered this fairly recently, is you can actually lead a horse. Not only can you tie a horse up when you get to a destination, but you can lead an animal with a lead. If you're lucky enough to have encountered a slime and they drop the slime ball for you. And that's a very quick way of crossing a river. And a very effective way of crossing a river, more importantly. Now donkeys are another type of mount. They're going to be almost the same. The only difference is that donkeys are a lot slower. They're not as good at jumping. And they're kind of stubborn. So I can't tell you how many times I've found myself in a situation like that, exactly that, where you end up in front of the donkey, and I probably spent a couple times more than 5 minutes just trying to get my donkey coaxing across a river like this or a body of water. And then the worst is when you accidentally fall into a body of water and your donkey is stuck underneath a tree. But so that's one way that you can get across, but the more effective technique, since you're hopefully carrying a lead anyway, is to just lead that donkey along. Now that actually applies to land too. You can actually almost sprint and that donkey's going to almost keep up with you. Let's see if he's still there. Yep, he's keeping up with us. So I think donkeys and horses can keep up with you at sprint speed. So now that we're over here, talk about another situation we encounter a lot. We have our home base set up over there and all our resources are located in different areas. So let's talk about chickens first, because they're usually one of the first animal livestock people go for. Let's get some seeds, because the most basic way to get a chicken across a river is to grab some seeds and get their attention and have them follow you across. Now the problem with that is they're slow. They're the slowest livestock by quite a bit. And usually you'll lose 1 or 2 across a river like this, or I do anyway. But it is a viable technique. However, since you got a lead, you can actually go ahead and attach several chickens at the same time. Let's see if I can get them all while I'm bouncing up and down. All right, there we go. And you can move at regular speed across the river a lot faster than you could trying to get chickens to follow you with the seed in your hand. Just get yourself up on land here and turn around and those chickens are going to be right there. That's a way faster way of getting them across a river. That brings us to our next type of livestock, which is cows. Now, cows and sheep are almost identical. They move about the same speed. They're about the same size. Let's see. Let's get a couple sheep. And they can be led even mixed, like one sheep, one cow, one pig. Or you can cross them by letting them follow you with wheat in your hand. They will follow you across land at a reasonable speed, and they will follow you across a river like this. But by far the most effective technique is to lead them across the river. But another alternative that I just discovered quite by accident the other day, I've still got wheat in my hand, is to actually get yourself a boat, which can be made with a few wood planks. This is especially effective in large bodies of water. Get the livestock's attention. This works for cows, pigs, chickens, and what livestock? Sheep. Have I forgot? You get yourself on the other side of a boat, and that animal is going to hop right in the boat. Now, if you get unlucky and get the attention of two of them, one's going to sit there waiting for you. Two of them will actually jump into the boat, and you can no longer get in the boat. So what you have to do is very carefully, because you probably came a long way for these cows, is very carefully get your boat back. There we go, got it. I managed to hit them once but not kill them. So I used a pickaxe to avoid injuring them. Put your boat back down and see if you can't get the attention of that cow again. And as soon as one hops in the boat, take the focus off the wheat. Then you can hop in the boat and cross the river or a large body of water. And you can also, for that matter, jump out of that boat, and that cow will stay there, or whatever item, chicken, pig, cow, or sheep that you put in there. Now this does not work for horses or donkeys or llamas because they're just too large to fit in the boat with you in it. So let's turn our attention to a couple of other forms of livestock which are quite often useful in the game. Let's talk about wolf. So we'll get a wolf spawn egg, and we're going to need a bone because we're going to have to tame them. And in a moment we'll try polar bear and llamas. All right, let's stick with those for now. There is a couple other we haven't discussed, but let's stick with the wolves for starters. Now, if you'd happen to be crossing, first we'll tame them actually. Taking quite a few bones. Okay, I got one tamed. Where is he? There he is. Now, oh, yeah, he's already taken off. Whenever you're traveling with wolves or dogs, tamed wolves, and they see a mob like a skeleton or a chicken or a sheep, they will stop paying attention to you and just follow that sheep across the map. So you almost have to wait for them or follow them. But when you're crossing a body of water like this, and the same thing applies for ocelots after they've been tamed into cats, they will follow you. It doesn't matter what speed you move at, including sprinting, they will just keep on respawning effectively next to you, like that. And I'm going to try and experiment with sprinting to show you that you can move any speed you like, including on horseback. Actually, we might as well try that. You can move at full speed on a horse, and those dogs will stay right with you. Turn around and they're right there, unless they get diverted by a skeleton or something else. Now, ocelots, unfortunately, I can't demonstrate because ocelots have to be tamed in survival mode. They cannot be tamed in creative mode. But they work exactly the same way as cats. And if they see a creeper, they will stop and follow the creeper, or a chicken for that matter. And that brings me to my next point, actually, which is a good point. We're not going to worry about those dogs. They're going to be long gone. Let's get them sitting down, maybe. Another method for chickens is you can actually collect chicken eggs wherever you find the chickens, especially over long distances. Run back to your home, and if you have 16 chicken eggs, you have a decent chance of getting 2 chickens out of it. So let's just go ahead and try that experiment. Now, even if you get one, that'll eventually mature and eventually lay eggs, and if you're very patient, there's one. So we got about 2 out of our 16 eggs there. Eventually they'll mature, keep on laying eggs, and eventually you'll get a second chicken. So it's useful to have more than 16 just in case, but worst case scenario, 1 will do if you had to go a very long distance for it. So let's talk about our last 2 mobs. Now we haven't touched on rabbits, but we'll come back to that in a second. But let's talk about polar bears, because that's something you're going to have to go a very long distance to get. And let's talk about llamas, because they're unique. So we'll spawn both of those. Let's get ourselves a group of polar bears. Now, polar bears are not passive mobs, they're neutral mobs, and they have to be pacified. I'm not sure if the techniques to do that, but they can be led from what's likely an environment that's really far away, using the lead, through bodies of water and over large pieces of land, right back to your home. Now you have to be careful, they will attack certain other mobs. Looks like I lost a polar bear to the boat, so that means a polar bear can fit in a boat as well. Unfortunately, we can't anymore. Now let's talk about llamas, because they're unique. Llamas are the only mobs that follow each other in a lineup. That's just been introduced recently. So we're going to spawn ourselves a whole bunch of llamas. Doesn't matter what type they are, baby or adult. As soon as you get one, the rest will follow you. Well, they should. Oh yeah, they're just lining up. The more llamas you have, the longer the line up. You can just sort of see them slowly moving into line there. And when you come to a body of water like this, they'll enter the water in single file and slowly but surely cross. Now, that's going to take you a little bit of time. So another technique is to actually just go ahead and attach the lead to as many as you want to get. And you can cross the river with them all attached. And they will keep up with you across that river or a large body of land for that matter. They will also follow each other, so that's a valid technique. So the last mob we haven't talked about is rabbits, and we'll just briefly touch on them. Ooh. Let's see if I can get that out of inventory so I won't have them attached to me. Probably not. But carrots are the thing to use to get rabbits to follow you. Now they're slow on land, and I suspect they'll be even slower. Let's actually try a quick experiment and see if we can get a rabbit attached to a lead. I might have to unattach these guys first. There we go. Alright, just really, hopefully quickly. There we go. Okay, so let's get a couple rabbits and see if we can attach a lead to them. I have to be quick because they are typically timid and will run away from you. Let's get a lead real quick. See if we can catch any of them. So, yep, they can be led as well, which is a really nice surprise, which is probably the easiest way to corral and get them into an enclosure. And that's a lot faster than they'll move if they're following you with a carrot in your hand. So I think I've covered all the topics. So hopefully this video has been useful and you've learned a couple of nice little tidbits. I personally learned a lot making this video and leading up to the video, things I did not know even a week ago. So I look forward to hearing your comments, suggestions for new videos, and feedback on this video, and hearing from you next time. Thanks very much again for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.